And I would advise all beginners, especially when you're painting large backgrounds, start on a smaller scale where you'll feel more in control. It will give you more time and it will build your confidence. The next important thing to do is mix up plenty of wash. What you don't want to do, especially when you're starting out in watercolor, is not make enough paint and then have to mix that while you're halfway through painting your background, because the paint will start to dry and you'll have unequal sort of wetness, so it'll be drier on your painting and too wet in the palette, and we want the consistency to be the same. We're going to be painting wet on wet, so you want to make sure you have enough wash and you mix your washes before you wet your background with clean water, and use a large brush to do this, and take your time because you want that water to soak into the paper and it really absorbs into the membranes of the paper, and so that it gives you more time. Watercolor is all about giving yourself time. So as you can see there, I'm getting plenty of water and I'm applying it to the paper, and just really being careful not to wet the actual object. You just want to wet your background. So go very close up to the object. Finally, obviously I'm doing this with a snowdrop, but take your time there, because if you go over that, that will bleed, the paint will actually bleed then onto your flower or stem. So you've just got to be really careful. So do large areas first, the background, the larger areas, and when you come in, just do those smaller areas, and then sort of go over everything again. Just make sure all the water has been absorbed into there. It may feel a bit like, you know, sort of time wasting, but it's worth it. As you can see here, I'm tilting just to get rid of any water and any puddles. Any excess water can be problematic later and create uneven washes, which we want to avoid, because they create back runs. And I will talk about back runs later in this tutorial, or what is known as cauliflowers or blooms. So I hope you'll find that helpful. So the next important thing to do is, when you apply the paint to the background, always keep loading your brush so that it keeps the consistency the same. If you just use the same sort of load onto the painting until it runs out, the time you go back to load again, that would have dried a little bit on your painting. So it's most important to get fresh paint literally every stroke you go. You will have more control that way. It may not feel like you will, but you really will, and you will get luminous, transparent, gorgeous washes as well. Because I'm using violet and green, you may need to rinse your brushes in between these washes, or have two different brushes. You've got one for violet and one for green. But as you can see that I'm really loading my brush, really putting on this wet paint, wet into wet, and just keep getting that fresh paint, and sort of coming up now closer to the actual flower now. So do the large areas first, and then the little details and the bits where you're cutting in, leave that till the end. If you start with this first of all, you end up with a little outline that's dried. So just do it that way. And what I'm doing now is I've wiped off the excess moisture on my brush, and I'm catching puddles and excess water, and I'm doing this by tilting. Okay, and if you notice there on the left hand side, there's a really big puddle. Don't tilt too much that it actually rolls onto your painting. So I'm actually just tilting now the other way to get that paint running off onto the right hand side there. And you can remove the moisture with kitchen towel like I'm using there, or a damp brush to soak it up. But just make sure you get rid of all those puddles, because they create back runs later, because they stay wet longer, your background is drying, and what happens is, as they start to dry and your background has dried, you start to get those blooms. It would be tempting now to get excess paint and start filling in these little bits as you come up close and cut into the flower. As you saw there, I wiped off the excess paint off my brush, so it's a damp brush. Then I will use the paint that's already on the painting and move it up to the edge of the snowdrop. And that way I don't introduce any excess moisture and paint, which again might create back runs later. So just use the paint that's on the paper already with your damp brush, not a wet brush, to avoid any back runs or hard edges. So this next snowdrop, I will be painting the background wet on dry, which is slightly harder only because it's about the drying time. Wet on dry, your paint will dry that bit quicker. Wet on wet, you've got that wet surface and it gives you a little bit more time. A good tip for beginners is to start on a smaller scale. It just gives you more time. And again, mix up plenty of paint, more than you need, just in case you run out or come up against something you didn't think of. At least you've got plenty of paint. The most important thing when you're painting wet on dry in a background is to tilt your painting so you can see what we call the watercolor bead. So it's where all the paint sort of collects together at the end. And if you can see that, you know you're loading your brush correctly and you know you're putting plenty of paint on your paper. It's a good sign. So you can see a little bit of a watercolor bead there developing on my tilt there. I've actually washed my brush there and I'm actually now painting on the violet colour, and I'm pushing that colour wet into wet kind of up into the green there, so there's a nice transition. So try to have the paint the same consistency as you can, so it's sort of, it's a milky consistency this. If one's watery, the other one's milky, you can come into sort of little backgrounds later. So this is kind of a milky consistency. Again, you can see my watercolour bead on the left, not enough on the right. So this is where I want to really load my brush and have lots more paint on my brush. Otherwise the wash on the right hand side will dry quicker and I might put wetter paint into it later, and again you could have backgrounds. So this is what to avoid. So if you can see that bead, you know you're okay. So just keep loading that brush. I'm working my way down from top to bottom because obviously I'm tilting it to get the bead, working very carefully around this snowdrop. Whoops! That's what you don't want to do, but it does happen. But not to worry, I never panic, so just carry on doing what you're doing, and you can always deal with that later, either trying to lift it off or use some white paint. If you stop there to try and fix it, you may things start to dry a little bit and you run out of time. So I'm just finishing off at the bottom there. So tilt your painting and use your damp brush to collect the little bead at the bottom so it doesn't sort of seep back into the painting. Again, you can get backgrounds when that happens. So I'm using the paper towel here just to get rid of the excess and finish off. Remember, don't go back into a damp painting. That's where you get those horrible hard edges or back runs. So wait for your painting to dry before you do any more details. Once the shine's gone, stop painting. I thought it'd be quite nice to show you how you actually get a background, just in case you want to put one in your painting. So put just wetter paint into damp paint, and that's how you get a background because of the inconsistency. So if you watch that top left hand corner, a background is starting to develop. So it's really important not to go back into a damp or drying painting because you're going to get horrible hard edges or backgrounds. If you want to go back into a painting or you've missed a little bit, make sure your paint is drier or damper than the surface of the paper. If you've missed that window and the shine has gone, let the painting dry, wet it again with clean water and put the paint in, and don't be tempted to go back. So I've just dropped another little bit of paint in there on the right hand side there, and again that's too wet onto a damp sort of semi-drying surface, and it does create all sorts of mishaps. And I'm going to show you now in a larger painting, putting all these sort of tips and techniques into practice. So I hope you find this helpful. So first things first, make sure you mix plenty of wash for your background so that you don't run out halfway through and have a panic. And then again, this buys you more time. It's really important. So I'm ready to apply my watercolors now. So I'm using a large brush, large area, large brush. So I'm really sort of loading my brush and sort of cutting in a little bit, but not too much because I'm going to save that to the end, but really sort of don't waste any time here, and certainly don't answer the door or make a cup of tea. You want to be really focused on getting this paint on, especially if you're working on a larger scale, and keep loading your brush all of the time. Fresh paint, and try to keep the consistency the same. I've just swapped to a smaller brush here just to cut in a little. There's a really small area here, so I'm just cutting in there just to make sure I've got that in there. And I'm using slightly creamier paint, so the creamier the paint sometimes, the less you're going to have a back run. So that's really important. So it creates a little bit of dark here. I've turned the painting upside down actually, because sometimes when you're painting wet on wet, time is of the essence and you want to get access to your painting. You want to get near that object or subject. So I've turned it upside down so I can get closer to it, if that makes any sense. So I'm just using this smaller brush just to go around a little bit of the edges there and just to paint carefully around. You can remember, you can finish off those little details at the end there, but if you're going to paint like this, make sure the paint's slightly creamy so you don't get any back runs. So I really should have swapped back to my larger brush, but again, you get so wrapped up in watercolour you forget the real basics here, so do forgive me there. I should have swapped back to my bigger brush. Here's my bigger brush. So I'm just putting in the green now. Try to keep the consistency the same. I think mine is slightly watery there. I'm going to try and get away with it though. If you do that, which can happen, is just make sure you do lots of tilting to try to sort of blend them all together. As you can see here, I'm tilting just to get rid of all those excess puddles and water, etc. with my paper towel. Tilting is a really good technique. So here we are, my background is sort of complete. I've wiped off all the excess paint. I'm working with a smaller brush and I'm just sort of blending here because it was sort of that paint was slightly creamier. And I just want to sort of soften it out a bit, but there is no moisture on my brush. I'm just using the paint that's on the paper. If you want to introduce more paint, make sure it's creamier and thicker than what's on there already, or at least the same consistency, and that way you avoid back runs and horrible hard lines. And I just thought I'd add a little bit of salt there just to finish off, to create some texture. And wow, the painting has dried and look at that, it's gorgeous with all that salt, and there is not a back run or a hard edge in sight. And I'm just going to continue now painting this snowdrop, just using a little bit of ultramarine, touch of cadmium yellow, painting wet on dry. I'm just building up a little bit of shadow now on the petals. I've used a little bit of ultramarine, a tiny touch of pink, and a little bit of the yellow, a little bit of quinacridone gold. And it's very watered down. You don't want it too dark, especially with light white petals. And what I'm doing now to get rid of any hard edges, I'm using my damp brush and pushing that water and paint up to where the tonal value is slightly darker, to keep the light area just above that little green center of the snowdrop. And I'm just applying now a mixture of the cadmium yellow with a touch of the ultramarine, more yellow than blue, painting wet on dry with my size 6 brush. What I'm doing now is adding a little bit more blue to that and painting this on the right hand side where the darks are, because the light is coming from the left. I'm really just wetting this left hand petal here, and I'm just with very, very pale sort of a blue with a tiny touch of pink. And I'm using my twig there just to score some marks in there, as you can see, that are on the surface of the snowdrop. I'm doing the same on the right hand side, working wet in wet. I've just swapped my size 10 brush. I just want to really give this right hand petal a good soak, and think of it almost like your background again, and how you paint the background. I'm using the same sort of techniques. I've just swapped to a smaller brush here, my size 4, and I want to mix up quite a neutral colour. And I've just taken the excess off there on my kitchen towel, so it controls the amount of paint that's on my brush, and I'm painting damp into damp. I'm just painting really, really pale sort of marks here, making it slightly darker at the top there, again using the kitchen towel to control the amount of liquid coming out of my brush. But it's a very soft violet, so it's ultramarine, touch of pink, tiny, tiny touch of yellow, and I'm painting this same colour damp into damp onto the petals, really building up this detail. I'm actually painting wet on dry. I've allowed my painting to dry, and I'm just putting some more little details on the petals. I could hardly call them darts because they're so light, but it's really the ultramarine again with a tiny touch of pink and a little tiny touch of the green or the yellow. Just make sure that it's very watered down. You just want to put these very light details on the petals, wet on dry. And I'm using a damp brush now just to soften here, so you can just blend that back a little bit. Especially if you don't feel comfortable and you think it's too strong, you can just soften with a damp brush. I'm building up some darks and details now in the center. I've just added a little bit more ultramarine to this little wash and a touch of the yellow, wet on dry. I've rinsed my brush there, take the excess off on the kitchen towel and soften and blend that hard edge just to push it back a little bit. It works so well. I'm doing the same now with the petals, the inside of this petal here. I've actually added a touch more pink, slightly warmer in color here. And again, I'm using a damp brush, working from the outside in and then touching that wash and blending. If I went the other way, I'd darken that area too much. This way it keeps it in place. The more practice you get, the more confident you feel. So never be too hard on yourself, and don't worry if your painting doesn't look exactly like mine. Mine never looks the same. Every time I paint it, it's different. And that's the wonder of it all, you know, just that it's the creativity. We're not slavishly copying it here, we're interpreting it. So I'm just softening this dark here and I'm working on the leaf here, just a mid-green here, working wet on dry, rinsing my brush, using that damp brush to blend back, using a little bit of a mid-green now just to get a little bit more, not so much darks here, mid-tones, because it's not that dark here on the leaf here, just a touch more blue. So I'm going to just give the painting a little spatter. I do this sometimes to stop myself from fiddling, and I like the effect of it and the texture. So I'm just spattering around the edges of the snowdrops and a little in the background, just using some of the leftover green in my palette here and there. I've just added a little bit more yellow actually as well, just to make a slightly lighter green, sort of a yellowy green, just splodging it on there, just having a little bit of fun, and even putting it in the center. It probably feels scary, spattering on a white flower. If you don't like where the spattery spots have gone, just have your kitchen towel on standby and lift off and it will be fine. I'm just now spattering a little bit of violet as well, seeing as it has been part of the background there, so it just creates a little bit of dark here and there and a touch more yellow. Now, if things don't always go right in a watercolour painting, you sort of the edges need a little bit of smoothing over. If you've lost your light, you can always use a little bit of white paint. I'm using Winsor & Newton's white gouache. I'm painting this wet on dry with my size 4 brush, and it's just to tidy up here and there. You don't have to use too much of it, and don't get too carried away with it. Just be really strict with yourself and just go, right, I just need to tidy up this, and then get out, because before you know it, you overdo it, and I've done it so many times. So I'm just cleaning up my edges here and there. To stop myself from painting and for a little bit of sparkle, I've spattered this white paint just to finish off, and I'm really pleased with it. And I really hope it's helped you with how to deal with difficult backgrounds, backruns and hard edges. If you would like access to the sketch outlines in this tutorial or my other YouTube tutorials, why not think about joining my Patreon membership? You'll get access to my exclusive tutorials and extended tutorials ad-free, and you can cancel anytime. Details about the membership can be found in the description below. Just click Patreon. Thank you so much for watching. Happy painting. Bye for now.